Hi, my friends. Welcome to Sort of Brilliant, a show where the characters are made up and the sorting absolutely does matter. My name is Rachel.
And I'm her best friend and co-host, Lauren. Every other week, we're going to invade a fandom and determine whether your favorite character belongs in Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin.
We're the Harry Potter podcast that talks way more about any other franchise.
Here, we use the sorting structure from Harry Potter as a common language without supporting the author or her beliefs. As for the sorting itself, there's bound to be some arguments along the way.
But in the end, we're always right.
According to us.
According to us.
Hey, everyone! Happy New Year! 2022, Season 2. That's totally arbitrary. We just decided because the year is over. It's Season 2 now. We didn't take a break. We didn't have a hiatus. You know, whatever.
Nope.
Maybe we never will.
Maybe
we'll just go forever.
Fucking barrel through.
We did. Yeah, we just continue. This is our only form of social interaction, so we have to do it for you.
I guess that's true.
30 people listening.
I probably wouldn't be on the internet anymore if not for this show.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I don't update Instagram, Facebook, Twitter really much anymore.
Twitter?
Somewhat. If something big happens in Supernatural fandom, I am there. I'm like,
Rachel
Batman.
comes to me and she's like, nobody talks to me on Twitter anymore. I was like, well, you need to post things.
No, everyone should flock to me.
Yeah, you know, I haven't been posting in a while and I do feel that. I'm like, people aren't talking to me. Do they not like me?
So then you get it. So like, don't,
yeah,
you know.
I get it. Anyway, Happy New Year. Hopefully this year is better than the last two. We can only go up, right?
No.
I say is possible World War III is in the
say nothing about
front of us.
anything. Just no. It's a new year. It is a new year. It's very like we have to treat it like Dwight in The Office when he treats birthdays. It is a new year.
It is a birthday.
That's it. We'll talk about it.
Okay. So last time we talked about Spider-Man, which none of you were listening to. Is it because you haven't seen Spider-Man?
Maybe they were waiting to watch it.
And then they forgot about our very extremely important podcast.
I don't know, because that's the one I would have listened to. If I were a listener, I would have been like, yo, after watching that movie, I need to like absorb more.
You did berate everybody listening for at least a solid 4 minutes.
If they didn't listen, then they don't know. So that's on them again, and I'll berate them again.
We are doing Marvel again because they won't stop putting out content. Although we're about to be on a bit of a break. They're not doing anything until May now, which kind of actually sucks. I'm used to them injecting it straight into my bloodstream, and now I have to wait. Crazy. Till the spring? That seems so far away, guys.
Oh, God. That's as far away as like spring break, and I'm just getting off.
It's farther than spring break. It's in May. It's almost summer.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know.
That's a long time.
I know. But then it's like May, July, November.
Yes. Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, listen, hopefully soon they start putting out more of the movies. And the shows.
There are some shows coming out this year. They just like haven't released the dates. Although last year, I think that's kind of how it happened too. It was like a month or two before that they were like, this is coming out. Because I don't think we knew when Falcon and the Winter Soldier was coming out while WandaVision was on. And that was January. And then Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out in March. So
anyway. Guesswork.
Yeah. We're talking about Hawkeye today.
Woo!
The show. Also the person, Clint and Kate.
And Kate. As Lauren just informed me before, she is Hawkeye now. I thought she got a new name.
Mm-mm.
Interesting.
Nope. Because the way that she gets it in the comics, Clint is dead. But then he comes back to life, and then they're just both Hawkeye.
Well, I just want to call her Kate Bishop.
She is Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop, yes.
George hates her accent. He's like,
why?
He says it does not sound legitimate at all. And I'm like,
how many
first
Russian
of all, I think
does
it
he know?
But second of all, even if it doesn't, I love it. I just love how she sounds. So whatever, man. Maybe I just love Florence Pugh. I don't know. She can pretty much do no wrong.
Yeah, she's been Lady Hawkeye, Hawkette, Hawkingbird, Kate Hawk.
Kate?
What?
I don't like Lady Hawkeye.
Yeah, I don't either. She's just Hawkeye. Why do we have to...
She's Kate Bishop.
She's Kate Bishop. And we're also talking about Yelena. Rachel really fought for that. I wanted to give Yelena more screen time. but it's obvious we know what she is. Rachel's like, but I want to talk about her. So
I just, like, she came in, like, towards the end, and it was still, like, my favorite part of everything.
Her
I just like watching
Kate
her.
were the best part of the show. Like,
I really enjoyed her.
Anybody else, but Florence Pugh and Haley Steinfeld talking to each other was the best part of the show.
It was so, I just, like, oh my God, I'm thinking about them in their houses now. And then I'm looking at them and I'm looking at how they look and the trend that we have. It's just, we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
What, do you think they're going to be romantic?
Looks reflect, they should be romantic.
They should.
Why do people's looks like reflect their house sometimes? It's so weird. So strange.
Did you finish watching the Tournament of Houses thing?
I didn't finish the tournament, but the Hufflepuffs won, right?
Yes.
I was like, as they should.
Yeah.
Kill the fucking Logic House.
No, but did you see the Slytherins play at all?
No.
There was one girl who had like dyed red brown hair and really heavy dark eyeshadow and a nose piercing, and I was like, You're
just repping it. All the Gryffindors just looked like they were there to party, and I was like, yes, you all are just embodying it. George sits me down. He's like, listen, Gryffindor lost to Hufflepuff. I'm like, yeah, we're there to party. We're not there to win any academic competitions. That only happened because Dumbledore rigged it. Gryffindor would never win anything except Quidditch.
Gryffindor was the house that didn't make it to the final.
They literally wouldn't have. It was so perfect. People sorted themselves so correctly. So correctly. I'm going to definitely have to watch that, though, because I enjoyed the little bits that I did see. It was fun seeing other people talk about what we talk about.
Yeah.
Rep their houses. I did watch the special. Did you watch the Return to Hogwarts special?
Wow, I could say loads about that.
Huh?
I could say loads about that.
Could you really?
Yeah.
I can't.
No? You didn't like it?
I mean, I felt things at certain points, but they were very much like actors talking about their craft and about acting.
Yeah.
And
about
in
how much they
comparison
like
with
each other.
like, well, I love that part, but in comparison with like the Friends reunion, which was very much a comedy and you were laughing the whole time, I was just like,
Harry Potter was not in any way comedic. I don't know what you expected.
It felt so, it felt a little dark.
It was dark.
But I cried.
That's what the series is. Yeah, I actually had a conversation with a friend yesterday who also watched it about some of the parts where they were like, fairly rightfully so, especially from their point of view, but how they were talking about the world and how accepting it was of everybody. And we were talking about how angry that part was making us because, like, I guess she did it unintentionally, but fucking J.K. Rowling does not subscribe to what she has accidentally created.
No, but it's interesting because you see the actors subscribe to it.
I know. That's why, but I was like getting mad about it because I was like, she fucking took this and like ruined it. You know?
It's just because
she
she's
could have
alive.
just kept her mouth shut.
She can die
with all her money. No, I know. It's fine. But like she could have kept her mouth shut with all her money and people.
I know. I saw that tweet the other day and it was like, it's literally what I've been saying since the moment she opened her fucking mouth. Like if I had written a brilliant series, I love the series, I would, and made $1 billion off it, I would simply shut the fuck up.
Right. Live in your
Shut up.
Like yeah, why do you have to be a public person? I had forgotten too that series reminded me that there was the death of reading for young kids. That was happening.
Yeah, I know.
In the early 2000s.
I know.
I completely
did not
forgot
remember.
that.
Look, you and I wouldn't remember that well because we were young readers.
Right.
Like, we liked reading, but I do remember having friends that were just like, books?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I remember that too. It was
great.
because I was at the tail end because I mean the first one came out in 97, but they didn't really start like becoming a cult. Like I think the movies helped, and that was when I first read them in 2002. And I was reading before I grew. I was an anomaly, maybe I don't know, but I loved reading anyway. But I absolutely had classmates or friends who were like, I don't get it. Like I don't enjoy reading.
Well, I remember I went to Catholic school, so like it was they didn't want Harry Potter on the shelves at first. And then actually parents started getting involved and they were like, put them in the library.
Right.
And they put them in and then slowly Goosebumps started pouring in. Like other kind of interesting stories. So I would like devour everything creepy or witchy or whatever in the library. But like I always loved reading. So I was just like, shit, this is just a new good series. Right. But I do remember seeing other kids with the books like that were not reading before.
Also, like the midnight releases were normal to me, but
yeah, me too.
Books didn't do that. Like you didn't have that for children's books. So
no,
yeah,
it was a good time culturally for readers.
It was. I also appreciated if anybody was. I mean, obviously, it's still. I don't know. There's a lot of thought to put into how she still gets supported when you engage with that content. But if you were worried about, if you were worried about her being there, she wasn't there. It was old recorded stuff from 2019, and they
made sure to let us know.
Yeah, they put up there like 2019 recorded, and there were
every
only
time she was on screen,
3 or 4 clips.
This was recorded in the past.
Yeah, and there were like 3 or 4 clips, and I was talking to this same friend too, how it was super interesting that all of the actors, and a lot of them have made it clear that they don't agree with her and that they've talked to her.
Yeah,
but all of them were like really pretty good about being like, I'm praising the work, not her.
They didn't mention her. The only one who did was the guy who played Hagrid, who supported her.
They did mention her, but they were like saying it in the sense that like the universe that she created or the story that she wrote. Yeah, they weren't. Yeah.
Whereas I remember when the 7th movie, part 2, so the 8th movie came out, and I remember that big red carpet event.
Yes.
When she was there, and they were praising her. Like the contrast to how people talked about her before this to now, like the actors and people who worked on the films. Oh man, she fucked up big time. Big time. Imagine fucking up your legacy that bad. Like, yeah, you created something that people love, but your name's forever associated with like this horrible controversy now. Like you fucked it.
Yeah, because that's who you
took
are.
It back and it's ours
like,
now.
That's like she could have been this awful person and nobody would have ever known, right? But she was like, I want people to know. So like, fine, we all know.
I just like I don't get it. I don't get it because I don't agree with The View in general, but also the way she doubles down and then like releases stories and like what the fuck is wrong with her? What's wrong with you?
She's a bad person. That's just what it is.
I know,
it's like ignorance
but it is
and
hard.
Hate and bigotry, and it's just.
It is hard to. It's hard because the series is wonderful and the messages that she created are wonderful. So how the fuck, But it's like anything else, I guess. You can just be a really great liar. Just be a really great liar.
And like as an older person in retrospect, I can go back and be like, oh, that was fucked up in the series. But
oh yeah, for sure.
But
there's no series that's above a critique anyway, and she made a lot of messes. But like, I don't know, as I was watching that special, I was just like, I don't know how these people who made these films did it, because I was like, okay, so creating Hogwarts is one thing, then the Quidditch pitch, then Hogsmeade, then Malfoy Manor, then the like everything, and she created an entire world. You don't get to do that and then not have people take it on as their own and just it's their world now, so it's ours. Like you created an entire huge thing. It's like the person who created Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know who that is, but I know the game and I know how much people love it, and eventually the name gets like shoved to the side, especially if you're this big of a fuck up. Big time fuck up. Like, there's no coming back from it for her. And you know what sucks? She doesn't want to come back from it. So nobody wants you either, lady. How about that? Goodbye. But I enjoyed the special. It was just like, it was sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
No, yeah, it was sad for a lot of reasons that we just said.
But I loved seeing the trio back together.
I did, yeah. And yeah, definitely.
I remember when I was younger thinking that Rupert and Emma were definitely in love. Like, definitely.
I was watching this totally why aren't Emma and Tom dating? Like, what are they doing?
Well, they said they're like, they just love each other. Nothing romantic has ever happened.
I know, but then she was like, I don't have anything else to say about it. I was like, Emma,
because she wanted it. She wanted it. It's so funny.
He seemed pretty clear that he would be okay with it too.
I know, but it was just it was funny seeing, especially like Rupert. I've seen him talk about the kiss before and how like he hated it and whatever. Seeing her with them when you're not like watching their interviews or watching them talk or whatever, she just looks like one of them. You know, like she's their age group and she's like part of it and whatever, and obviously like otherworldly beautiful. So I'm like, obviously they all liked her. And then you listen to them talk about it. She's younger. She was like the baby. Like they just did not see it. And it was so interesting hearing it from that perspective. Just versus what I thought growing up.
Well, Daniel talking about having to kiss Bonnie too, because she was really the baby. They were like,
she was really the baby. Also loved seeing that she can express emotions and talk and
wow.
versus
wow.
acting of Ginevra. No, she's terrible Ginny. Terrible Ginny. Great person, terrible Ginny, which is awful.
Like Ginny.
Sure. All right.
You don't think she looked
the same way Emma looked like Hermione? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No.
I mean, Emma...
They don't look any... No. No. I think the best casting was Rupert.
Yeah.
In the younger years, I think he looked exactly like I thought Ron would, but it's funny because he's not described like that. I just thought he embodied Ron. But none of them really looked like how they were described.
I mean,
they all
I
pulled
thought
it
Daniel
off
did pretty well except the
Ginny.
eyes.
What?
Daniel was pretty good except the eyes.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
no,
he was pretty close to. He was close. I mean, look, I'll always say Azkaban, the third one. They all look exactly how they're supposed to look. Mm-hmm. So they nailed that one
in your head.
Yeah, but I'm right.
I don't know. I thought I could see Hermione as black. I know that's been a.
Yeah, no, she could be. But in talking about like what you pictured in your head growing up, like I'm white and I guess I related to her. And so I definitely projected myself onto her. Mm-hmm. And I definitely thought she was like just not as pretty as Emma Watson.
Okay.
Is where I'm going with that.
Right.
I thought Emma was beautiful. And that's not. Hermione was this buck-toothed, frizzy-haired girl. And like it could be whatever race, but just not as pretty as Emma Watson. I just didn't see it that way. She came into it later, but Emma was a gorgeous child. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I mean, you're right in the sense that, like, in the books, her coming to the Yule Ball is supposed to be, like, this huge thing. Like, they literally don't recognize her. In the movie, it's like it's Emma Watson in a dress. Like, you know?
Yeah, I know, right? It was like, come on. She's been beautiful this entire time. Well... We've reached our...
Anyway, that's the most we'll talk about Harry Potter this year.
Harry Potter. I'm always happy to talk about it because I've completely removed that bitch from it. So, like, I'll always talk about it. But we're the Harry Potter podcast that doesn't talk about Harry Potter. So let's get into
really
Hawkeye.
What that is about. Yeah. Hawkeye. Haha. Well, we're like on this subject. So last time we talked about Hawkeye or Clint, we talked about Clint was in the Natasha episode. Obviously, he means a lot to Natasha. Mm-hmm. And I made some statements how I was having a hard time understanding why people didn't like him because I just didn't feel like he'd done much.
And the press went wild over your statements.
Yeah, did they? You wrote whole articles about it in New York Times. That statement has evolved. I've done reading. I've looked at other people's views, and I understand that. I mean, a lot of the Avengers have done bad things, but I understand the upset with Clint, kind of like the colonial conquering white man going into other countries and killing people. When really, why should he be doing that? That's not his business, I guess, especially when he's not even on the Avengers anymore, which, and the whole Sokovia Accords thing was that, like, this shouldn't be your business unless world governments tell you it is. But yeah, totally
relates
get that.
To his house, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does relate to his house, actually. But I wanted to say that I very much understand now. I did some educating of myself, and I think the show tried really hard to acknowledge that and also tried to make us like him. And that may have worked for some people and it may not have worked for some people. But hopefully it doesn't matter because Kate's going to be Hawkeye and he can just go away. So he can live with his family on his farm like he's wanted to do since Age of Ultron. Yeah,
I mean, that's literally all he wants. It's life at all.
Quite literally all he wants.
But I do like his dynamic with Kate. So I
did. I like they made a very good like mentor mentee buddy cop. You know,
there's this thing that happens in media and in shows and movies where it's like older, rugged, broken man and young, like smart, badass girl.
Yes.
And when they don't have any creep factor to that, which there never should be, it's fantastic. And I love the dynamic of it because it's always like, make the grumpy man less grumpy,
right?
You know,
right.
And then like make the girl even more awesome than she already was through like
better than the grumpy man
badass knows, and then she can surpass. You know, so I love that dynamic, and I think that's really what kept me engaged because I liked them together.
It's kind of the evolution of because you know most media is through the white male gaze, and so it was always like the spaghetti western, you know, like that rugged man alone was always the thing, you know, like
which
Clint
is so
Eastwood,
fucking boring.
fucking Die Hard. It's like,
so
you know,
fucking boring.
So I feel like that's their way of trying to like bridge it, where they're like, now there's a better girl, and then hopefully one day when we get more women directors and actors and producers and writers in the industry, we don't need men at all. That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, that's the goal of life. When it's done right and when it's done well, it really it sticks with you. And this was one of the ones where I felt like really inspired by and felt really good about. So I really liked Kate. I love Yelena.
Yeah,
as we know,
love Kate and Yelena. I've said it. I think I said it in the Spider-Man episode, but Kate Bishop is my favorite person in all of Marvel ever. In the comics, I love her.
She beat Peter
so
Parker.
I'm also extremely biased on this show. I don't know. I think we mentioned. I don't know but this show is based on a comic run that was done in 2012 by Matt Fraction and David Aya, who did not get paid for. I think Fraction was a producer or something. He was involved, but Aya's art was used in the credits, or it was, you know, his art style, and I don't think he was paid. So Disney, strike $56 million. But
God,
but
that mouse and J.K. Rowling could just go fuck themselves.
But that comic run is like one of the best comic runs ever, and it's fantastic, and they emulated it. I thought fairly well.
Lauren,
Lucky the
you're
dog.
a ridiculous human. You're like,
Why?
I was never like a big comics person. You say that all the time. And then you're like, but I did read like all of Spider-Man and like all of Deadpool and like
these
all
are like
of
the
Hawkeye.
2 that I read. I read Deadpool, I read Spider-Man, and I read this Hawkeye run.
That's 3, honey.
Okay, well, there you go. I'm a liar.
Yes.
I don't know. Do you just want to get Clint out of the way so we can talk about the woman?
Get Clint out of the way.
Get Clint out of the way.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I also understand the critique of Clint, and like I
good for you.
I like to listen to Lauren sometimes when she talks, and I'm like,
Lauren
okay,
tear
I see your
herself
point.
up.
That all being
Thinking
said, the
about
way
things.
I don't feel like it. Obviously, it's not my place to redeem him anyway. I'm not a group that he offended. So for me, I thought, like, just from my end, in my opinion, I thought the show did a pretty good job of making me not hate him. So I don't go into it hating Clint. So for Clint fans, you know, I'm not gonna bash him.
Wait, but you're saying you didn't go into it hating Clint?
I didn't have an opinion of Clint. Honestly,
no. That's
no.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think if you started from no opinion, then yes, the show would make you like him.
That's
in some
what
way,
it is.
Probably.
I really had no opinion on him. I was like,
if you came in like
this
guy was bad and sucks, and
I kind of will.
I think it's much harder.
I think so. I just really I had no love for him anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I didn't really care. I didn't.
No,
really
that's
get
where
him.
I started. I had no feelings about MCU Clint.
Yeah,
my issue is that I love comics Clint. I'm having a very hard time.
Yeah. And I've always thought that MCU Clint should have been with MCU Natasha. Like I just thought it was very weird the direction they took it in. So
like this family that they did in a way. I like
what the fuck?
This show. This show was like a Hail Mary course correction, right?
Oh yeah,
because Hawkeye is deaf in the comics, and they were like, "Oh my god, quick, give him a hearing aid. He's hard of hearing."
Right.
You know, so and throwing in Kate is going to make him more likable because the show's through Kate's point of view, and Kate loves him, so it's kind of hard to step away from that when she's
it's hard to hate him when she loves him so much.
Yeah. And he was given a chance to like be like MCU. I'm gonna stop saying MCU Clint. Clint was not given much in the Avengers movies.
No.
He was brainwashed for like 3/4 of the first Avengers movie,
right?
And then he was just in the fight. Age of Ultron, he was like this dad figure to Wanda, it wasn't Max. Pietro. I wanted to say Maximo. I don't know. Pietro.
They're Maximoff twins.
Maximoff. Yeah. Pietro. And then Civil War, he was like kind of in it, but not super. And then, because that was really about Bucky and Steve and Tony.
Right.
And then he was gone in Infinity War because he was under house arrest. And then in Endgame, he lost
this
his family,
random fucking murderer.
It was just an awful person for no reason, just angry white man. So yeah, he has not been given a lot. So this show was like the first time that you were like, all right, here's Clint, the person, and like he's not an awful person. Or the redeeming thing about him is that he is like extremely aware that he is not a good person and actually believes it. It's not like a self.
Yeah, he's not trying to convince anybody of anything.
It's not even, I'm not saying that Gryffindors don't believe it, but when they do it, like Bucky, it's like super self-depreciating. Like you could be the greatest person in the world and you're still like, I'm awful. Clint's like, no, for real. I'm not. No, I'm
awful. And what's kind of a thing I like about Clint is that you could tell him that he's awful and that you hate him and like you think he's a piece of shit and he'd be like, oh, fair.
Yeah, he's like, yeah,
like he wouldn't argue you.
Yeah, he's like that makes sense. He I think he would have let Yelena kill him if he had.
I think so too.
Done his whistle and she was like, no, that's not enough. He would have been like, I feel like I deserve this, like like all right, let's actually talk about him. We've done it.
So let's begin. Not a defensive person. Not on the defense, that's for sure. So take him out of Gryffindor.
No.
We could do process of elimination. He's not a defensive person. He's not someone who fights for any sort of cause beyond his family. Now, here's the problem. I originally thought Clint was a Slytherin because of his circle. Specifically because of his circle. And because of how well he got along with Nat, famous Slytherin.
Famous Slytherin.
And I was like...
the face of Slytherin House. She
should be. And I was like, a Slytherin would never love someone as much as they love another Slytherin. and it's just it's not true. But I did think that they had like a Slytherin bond, which I thought was interesting. And then Lauren was like, no, stupid. And we've talked about this before. He's not a Slytherin. So he's not a Slytherin. He's not a Gryffindor. So
that was your reason for believing me going, no, stupid.
Yeah. So, and obviously not a Hufflepuff. Although you could make the argument that he was obsessed with justice, but it's not justice. It's his brand of justice, which was like seen through a lens of how he views the world and how he views how he was wronged, which is very Ravenclaw. So yeah, he definitely is one. And I have the George stamp of approval.
Oh, do you? Oh,
I told George that.
I told him.
He's like, I see that.
Clint. Yes. Yeah.
He found one in the wild, Lauren. I forgot to tell you. He found one in another show. We've been rewatching Game of Thrones. I had the plague, not COVID, the flu. And we've been watching Game of Thrones, and he went, what is that guy? And I went, what do you think he is? And he went, I think he's a Ravenclaw. I'm like, you got it! So
I love how Rachel's not saying who it is, even though she's sworn to me we're never ever sorting Game of Thrones.
Stannis Baratheon.
Okay.
And we'll never sort him anyway.
Okay.
Trust me, it wouldn't be on the docket. So Stannis Baratheon is a Ravenclaw, but so is Clint Barton.
No, I knew Clint was a Ravenclaw before this show, and I'm not. Ileana, our famous graphic designer, asked me ages and
Ravenclaw.
She is a Ravenclaw, yes. One of the few that we know and interact with. Asked me ages and ages and ages ago, probably more than a year ago. Probably when we did like WandaVision, or maybe even before that, maybe when we did like the Tony Steve Thor episode. She was like, who in Marvel is a Ravenclaw? And there are more obvious ones, but my brain immediately went Clint. It's Clint. It's Clint. I was thinking of the original.
I was thinking of the original
6, but I don't know. His like mannerisms certainly don't hurt. The fact that he's like he's so calm and and like shit happens and he's just like, I have a response to that. And
that's also what kicked me off the Slytherin train is his demeanor. There's and you have Slytherins that are like what we call left side Slytherins that don't like emote as passionately as the right side Slytherins. I don't care. It makes sense to me. So I was like, oh, maybe he's a left sider, but I was like, no, he can't be a left sider because he just doesn't have it. He doesn't have the Slytherin factor.
Because it's not
definitely Ravenclaw.
Because it's not the correct form of like calm, right? It's not that he doesn't care, and it's not that he's like, I'll figure it out later. He's just like, oh, I have an arrow for that. Oh, I have a response to that,
Yeah.
Like, it's not, slither and calm is always the confidence in yourself to eventually figure it out. Like, you'll eventually get a response. It's not that you have one right now.
It's also typically like the calm before the storm.
Right.
Which Clint doesn't have. It's
yeah,
like,
he's
constantly one way. He's always one way.
Mm-hmm.
You barely see him get actually angry. Like, even as he's fighting. He's just doing it with like the same stoic face that he was just talking to Kate about nothing. Like, he's always one way.
I said, in the last episode when Yelena like rappels down the building and is trying to shoot him as she goes by or whatever, and he's sticking his head out the window. I was like, Kate, is that you? And she's like, it's Yelena. And Yelena comes by like shooting at him, and he just looks down and like leans his head back into the building. Like,
he's like no physical response to anything. He's like, oh, so this is happening now, and this is happening now. I think the only time we see him cry, it's over Nat. Like, he's obviously distressed about his family, but like outward, really, really being emotive, it had a lot to do with Natasha.
He's also, so this is from the show. The way that he thinks about things is very, like, the fact that he told Maya that Ronan was killed by Black Widow. Everybody was like freaking out about the similar. I was like, that's literally how he thinks about it. He's like, Nat killed Ronan that day.
Yeah, it's not like a plan. Like, he was like, oh, this is a good strategic move. Like, that is actually how he feels
he's like,
about
no,
it.
But that's what I'm saying too. He's not saying it like symbolically either. Like, I know that's how
not at all.
It. He's like literally.
he's very literal.
Yes.
And this is a trend with Ravenclaws. They're very literal. They say exactly what they're thinking all the time. You can really trust them. Like, Kate picked a good hero. I mean, whatever the bad shit about him be damned. Like, right? She loved him before all that. But
told her that stuff, and he told her that it is bad, and that I did the wrong thing, and that I'm not a hero. I'm not a role model. You should not look up to me. I am not somebody that I want people to emulate, and that it's totally on Kate that she continued to be a part of it. But
I think that is a good person to look to, as someone who can say that they were wrong, admit that they were wrong, and not try to go on the defensive and be like, actually, I did it because, like, I was so distraught about my family and, like, these were bad guys anyway. Like, he doesn't defend it. He's like, no, it was fucked up and I am fucked up. Like, you should not want to embody that. And she's like, but I like how you do things. I like how you handle yourself and how you talk. And, like, she just liked him. She just, it was who she loved.
I mean, it was, we will eventually sort Maya because she's getting her own show. Very excited about that, by the way. Shoshana Stern, who Rachel and I know from Supernatural, is writing for the show, and she's a deaf actress. Awesome. She's awesome, and I'm really excited. I saw this complaint a lot, and I agree that Hawkeye did this very wrong, and I hope Echo better do it better. It's a centering on a deaf superhero. But when they were signing, that they wouldn't show the hands. Like, I know, the hands were below screen of a lot of it. I was like, I want to see. And also, if you're deaf and watching a show about deaf people, would you not? You want to see the signs, right? Like, you don't want to.
No, it was literally like when people in anything are speaking in another language and they don't put the subtitles for that specific part. You're like, because it's a language. Sign language is a language. Like, you put everything out that you can put out so that people understand what's going on.
And sign language is expressive. It's not like it's not like we couldn't see so like, that's stupid. So I hope they fix that in the show. But Maya was after Clint because Clint, as Ronan, killed her father, and her father, she's part of a mob organization. Her father was a bad guy or was doing bad things for Kingpin. So, like, again, Ronan's going after who he thinks are bad guys. But Clint, first of all, again, Clint cared this much about it because Maya learned his family's names, right? It wasn't that Maya was coming after him and he deserves it because he killed her dad. She was starting to look into his family, and he told her, if you come after my family or me again, that's going to be the mistake. But the way that he addressed it is, again, like, wasn't the defensive, like, I killed your dad because he was doing this or whatever. He very logically was like, I was hired by somebody, and I was hired by somebody in your organization. And then he just let her be with that. Like, you know, she's like, I don't believe you. And he's like, I don't care. That's what happened. You do with that what you want, but stay away from me.
Yeah. What an interesting theme, like, throughout the show of Maya and the viewer getting to see these men who did terrible things and were terrible in many ways, but then you get to see the flip side of them where like Maya's father was amazing with her and loved her so much.
I mean,
and then you see it with Clint and Kate too, and you see it with
Kate's
Clint's
dad
family,
and
like
Kate's mom and
Kate's father.
Yeah.
And how Yelena feels about Nat. Like it's very interesting thematically. This was a good show.
Yeah. Well, it's like you
enjoyed it.
You forgive the people you love, right? Like
you
know,
do.
Like,
well, depending on your house. So Clint can though. He can.
Well, Clint is a logic house. He
Yeah.
Okay, so let's rewind.
Let's talk about how he loved LARPing, which is really.
Do you want to talk about that? That wasn't on my list. Okay,
he fucking loved it.
Uh huh.
What? There's not you have a list of things to say because
no, I just that wasn't a thought that I had about what makes him a Ravenclaw.
What? Whoa.
Okay,
first of all,
about it.
Going into something that you think is so nerdy and lame, and not that you'll enjoy it all, and looking at it, kind of looking down at it, can be kind of a Ravenclaw thing at times, and then accidentally falling into loving it, like super loving it, and being like, actually, this is awesome, and then being really good at it. It's pretty Ravenclaw.
Yeah,
which I mean, how can an Avenger be bad at LARPing, right?
Right.
Although Steve Rogers probably wouldn't.
It's because he wouldn't understand what was going on.
No, he wouldn't. Natasha wouldn't be good at it either.
No, she would just shoot everyone. Like she doesn't.
She'd be like, "This is dumb.
Like,
this is actually dumb.
How is everybody not dead yet? Like I have to hold back. This doesn't make any sense."
Yeah, they wouldn't be good. See, Slytherins aren't good LARPers. That's what I'm learning. But Ravenclaws, man, they're gonna be good LARPers. So yeah, it was just a little thing that I noticed, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that speaks to his house." You got more?
I was gonna leave the show and go back to the movies where we got so little, but I mean, there was the foundational there. I mean, he first showed up in Thor, right? He was yes, he was the SHIELD agent when Thor was trying to get his hammer in the compound.
Oh,
he was yeah. He was up on the rooftop and he was waiting for Clint or Barton to tell him to shoot. So that's Clint's background. He's a SHIELD agent.
I would have never remembered that. You see how he's not on my radar in any capacity?
See? Yeah, I mean, he has like 2 lines, but I mean, it's very Ravenclaw. Like Thor's down there beating the shit out of people, and he's like, "You better give me the, you better." Yeah, he's very stoic, just sitting there waiting for the to go, and he's like, I said Barton for the agent name. That's not who he is. He's like, "You better give me the go ahead because I'm starting to like this guy." Like he's beating everybody up, and that's a pattern with Clint to start liking people and then slowly bringing them into his fold. Clint is,
but what's interesting about that, what's very Ravenclaw about that, is that he's not looking for it on purpose.
No,
ever. It falls in his lap.
No, it's because it's like not emotional either. He's just like logically. He's like
he's like you're great.
This person's cool. Yeah, no, but so that's Rachel. So when I told Rachel the first time, I told Rachel that Clint was a Ravenclaw, and then she forgot about it and started thinking it was a Slytherin. And she was like, "What? Well, what is his structure? Like, what is he doing?" And I was like, "It's his family. You know, like that's literally all he cares about. That's all he is." Modeling his world on is the fact that his family is safe. He's hidden them away at this farmhouse where they are totally off the grid. The entire show is about him, 1, getting back to his family, 2, protecting his family. But even before that, that's what it is. They're hidden in the house in Age of Ultron. He leaves his kids to go fight with Cap because Cap is fighting against the Sokovia Accords. And one of the caveats of the Sokovia Accords is that all superheroes need to make themselves known. So he's scared about exposing his family. So he's like, no. And he goes to fight with Cap about it. And he gets put on house arrest. And I think, or not house arrest, actually, he goes to jail. And he, like Scott, takes a deal to be on house arrest to go back with his family. So, similarities between him and Scott too, but well, Scott, I don't blame.
I haven't sorted him in my head yet.
I haven't either, but Scott, I don't really blame because he was in jail for 6 years and missed his daughter growing up, and then like did not want to do that again.
Scott Lang can do no wrong.
I know he can't. He really can't.
He's actually perfect.
I'm actually really excited to start thinking about Scott Lang because I have some initial thoughts about him. But
yeah, he's gonna be fun.
But yeah, but no, and it's so funny with Clint because it's his family, right? It's his daughter and then his two sons and his wife. But Clint brings people into his family.
He literally doesn't stop.
He very, very, very clearly does it with Natasha. Their youngest son is named after Nat. Like, he says in the show when Kate asks him what the best shot he ever took was, he's like, it's the shot I didn't take. He was sent after Nat to kill her.
Yeah.
And he said, from his point of view, he said, I just had a feeling like she wanted to get out. And I was right. So he didn't.
And of course I was right.
Right. Yeah. You know, like I had the right feeling. No, but he immediately folds Nat. Like from Black Widow, we know that they sat in that air duct and like played tic-tac-toe for like 3 days while they were hiding and they got out of the country or whatever. And he obviously has supported Nat through everything. That's another thing Illy was asking me. When the show started, she was like, do you think Clint knows about Yelena? And I was like, well, that all depends on the type of Slytherin Nat is. And the type of, because also their relationship, like we knew that they were close, but I was like, what did that mean to Nat?
Yeah,
you
we
know,
had no
because
idea.
it's two people who are in her circle, but they're very separate people. So, like, is she telling them about each other, or is she keeping them separate? Because that can
and
also
you could
be
absolutely
a thing with
see her
Slytherins
keeping them separate.
Yeah. But Clint was like, I know all about Yelena.
Yep.
She told me everything about Yelena, and you're like, okay, so like, it was kind of a like symbiotic relationship where yes, this was Nat's person, but also Clint was like, you are a part of my family, and I am like, you know, I'm doing things partially because of you, because you're a part of that structure. Right. And then I was laughing too, because obviously in Age of Ultron, he immediately like adopts the Maximoff twins. Like, you know, like Wanda is not a good person in that movie. And he's like, she can be good.
They're just kids.
Like, like they can be good. They can be good. They can be like, they can be helpful. Like, obviously Wanda's like extremely powerful. He has that whole speech to her where he's like, you can sit here and be scared and that's fine. He's like, it doesn't matter who you are or what you did in the past. Like, if you go out there and like fight these guys with us, then you're an Avenger.
Yeah.
Which I was like, well, this is very contradictory to what Clint thinks about himself. But, you know, like,
sure.
But yeah.
Oh, it's so funny that you're talking about this because
his structures his family, and it's not just his blood family. He's bringing in other people, and he's like Rachel said, he's not really doing it on purpose. He's just like, you're a good person. We gel together, bringing you in. You know?
Yeah. It's interesting. He's not the only Ravenclaw to do this. Charlie Kelly just went to fucking Ireland and. And, yeah, he did exactly this. Also abandoned Frank in lieu of his new family, though. So, but Charlie's an extreme kind of Ravenclaw, so it's okay. But as you were talking, it's literally all I was thinking about. Charlie going to Ireland. So, we went off on a little tangent there and need to take a break because we started laughing at It's Always Sunny. Very sorry about that. So,
tune into our episode about Always Sunny with It's a Fandom Thing coming out sometime next year.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do many more. Sunny. So Clint definitely adopts people and brings them in, and it's just so interesting that it's not that I was viewing it like a circle, and it's not a circle. It's the lens through which he views the world.
It's how he decides how to act and how to do things, right?
It is.
He's like, I do things because of my family, and it's just that he is so he's like, I do things because of my family. Oh, now Nat's here. I do things because of Nat and my family. Oh, you know, Wanda's here. I do things because of Wanda and Nat and my family. You know, like in Civil War when they have Wanda locked up in the house, he's the one who comes to get her. So,
and he very much acts like a Ravenclaw who loses his truth when he does lose his family. He does not know how to act anymore. He just fucks it all up.
That's what he does. It's like, it's not that logic flies out the window. It's that he very much goes, I'm doing this because of my family, and then doesn't think about anything else. So, like, you know, like, and you can
But the system's broken. The lens through which he sees the world is gone.
Yeah, exactly. But you can tell, like, obviously afterwards, his family is back. He can look back on it and be like, that was bullshit because I was doing bad stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I've completely fucked myself and my own morality. Like, I'll never get that back. And he says at one point, too, he's like, and this now affects my family. Like, right. I've poisoned the well. And he's like, and there's like, I think all I can do about it is continue to try to protect my family. But I think
he's also able to, I don't want to say the only reason, but I think a major reason he's able to recognize this is because he does get his family back. Because I don't know if he would have come to that conclusion if they didn't come back.
I mean, so Nat comes and gets him, right? And Nat's part of his family. Nat was the only one that could have done that. Well, but I'm saying Nat was the only one that could have gone and killed Ronan. Symbolically. She's the only one who could have come and convinced him, right? And she also convinces him by saying, I think we have a way to get your family back. But the whole scene on Vormir, and like, yes, I know everyone's mad about this because it should have been Clint, not Matt. But Clint agrees with you. You know?
Yeah, he
does. He wanted to go over the cliff, and he was doing it for his family. He was like, I'm going to bring my family back. But you know, we're given a little more perspective on Natasha now. When I talked about Natasha in the summer, when we talked about her, I was like, Nat knew that she would never be redeemed. So she's just doing it. She's like, this is what I can do. This is what I can do. And we're given a little bit more perspective now, knowing that Yelena was dusted. So Yelena wasn't there. So Nat was really bringing her back.
But it's so stupid of Nat, because she could have, like, if she believed that this was going to bring back his family and bring back everybody that blipped, then Yelena was going to come back too.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Self-sacrificial Slytherin bullshit.
No. So I'm saying it's not only the fact that she was like, this is all I can do. Like, nothing I ever do ever again will make me better, but I can do this. But it was also the added fact that I'm going to bring my sister back. Okay. And I'm going to bring Clint's family back. You know, like and Clint should be here to see his family. That's another thing that we could talk about for days about Natasha too. She's like, Clint deserves to see his family. I don't deserve to see Yelena again, right? Yeah, you know, like Natasha. But she.
My God.
But yeah, so but Clint fought her for it. He was gonna go over the edge. Yeah. He was ready to do it for his family and for Nat. That's the other thing too that I was like, Nat must have told him Yelena was gone.
No, yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm sure she shared everything with him.
Mm-hmm.
Their text messages must be so good. You just imagine, like, I just think they telepathically communicated everything. I don't even think they verbally talk, because neither of them are big talkers.
No,
they don't need to. I love Nat seeing the picture of the baby and just going, fat. It was so funny. Yeah, they were a good duo, and I think Lauren brought up to me in other conversations how Kate has a lot of Nat's like personality, a little like she does. There's a lot of Nat in her, and Clint was obviously able to recognize this, and it was easier for him to relate to her and want to.
But it was also him being like, I don't want to do this again. Don't hurt me again.
But it's hard because he knew he was going to love her.
Yeah.
He knew he was going to love her, and he was like, not another one. Like, I can't do this again. I got enough shit going on. But, you know, Kate Bishop found her way in.
Yeah, I don't know how much more I have to... I probably could talk about Clint for quite a while. He's, like, Ravenclaws are just straight up interesting. Like, there's just a lot you could say about Ravenclaws. I don't know, like, yeah,
just look at him when he gets hurt. Even in the way that he gets hurt, and it's never a big to-do about anything.
Oh yeah, when he lost his hearing aid, that whole episode, he was. He goes and like when he just gets fucking blasted, he goes and gets frozen peas. Yeah,
and he deals with it.
That thing you said about how Nat and him probably spoke telepathically, and then Kate is pretty close to Nat. When he doesn't have his hearing aid, they start like. Kate says something and he can't hear her, and then he says the same exact thing. Like, you know, no, I mean, you could just like, so you can take The Show, which is like the most concentrated, like, examples of Clint that we have, like actually being Clint, and he's just extremely systematic. Like, you know, he's like one of those walkthrough computer games where it's just like you have to go step by step. He's like
a perfect NPC.
Yeah, he's like, okay, go get the Ronin suit. Okay, now I deal with this girl. Okay, now figure out this mystery. Okay, now deal with Maya. Okay, now put on the Ronin suit and go kick Maya. Okay, now Yelena's here. Okay, yeah, like he literally is so systematic, and he's just like, and I was crying too. In that episode when him and Kate have Christmas and they're in her aunt's house and they're like doing all the Christmas stuff and she's like writing on the board or whatever. And she's like, okay, this is the part where you finish my sentence with the plan. And he's like, I'm not really the planning guy. It's because he doesn't think ahead. He just does. He's like, this is my response to what has happened. Yeah. Like.
Yeah. And in true Ravenclaw fashion, it literally always works out for him. So you can't argue with me because everything works out for Clint when it shouldn't. So he must be a Ravenclaw.
Rachel told me that the way that she realized he was a Ravenclaw, re-realized, I guess, is when he fell into that tree and the owl's there. And he's just like, hey.
There's no other fucking reaction. I really love Ravenclaws.
I mean, that's the other thing too. Like, Kate's like, I'm gonna get you to the tree, and he's like, no. And she's like, no, I have a plan. This is how it's gonna go. I'm gonna get you to the tree, and he's like, no, don't do anything. I'll get myself out of the tree. I just haven't landed. Like, I'm not planning on anything. I'm just waiting for something to happen. She's like, no, I'm gonna get you out of the tree. Like, I've got a plan.
She would drive me fucking crazy. She really would. Well. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about Clint either. I don't think that he's one of the ones where it's like, it's not that he's a surface level character, but once you see what he is, it's kind of like, okay, now every line he has, every move he makes, every expression on his face is so clearly Ravenclaw that it's kind of like, it's just pretty obvious.
No, I don't know. And I know sometimes we complain about the fact that some characters are too easy because we're like, oh, that's so obvious or whatever. The other Marvel Ravenclaw I'm thinking of is that type, but that's what makes it fun.
But it's so fun to talk about.
It's so fun. You're like, this is so obvious. Every single thing. Everything.
Yeah. We're really hyping that one up.
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta do a good job there.
We're going to talk about it. People are going to be like, this is who you're talking about? God.
Like, yeah, duh, he's that. Well, yeah, no, Clint definitely joins the Ravenclaw ranks.
I think he's the first Marvel one.
Is he really?
Yeah. That we sorted publicly.
Yeah, I guess he is.
We've got like 4 Slytherins because we did that 3 Slytherin episode. And then
we got a lot of Gryffindors.
Tony and Bucky are Gryffindor, and then Fleur and Sam are Hufflepuffs. And Wanda and Vision. Yeah, and then Wanda and Bucky and Griffin. Yeah. He's the first
other Ravenclaw yet, huh?
He's the first one.
Wow. They really don't know how to write him.
Also, I don't think superheroes have the greatest propensity to be Ravenclaws.
Yeah. Well, no offense. You can be superheroes
No
too.
offense to super. No, I'm calling superheroes stupid.
They are. So, all right, let's go. We can save Kate for last because she's your fave.
Oh, okay.
We'll save the best for last for Lauren.
Okay.
So Yelena
Belova.
There's so much.
I love her. I was going to rewatch Black Widow the other day because I was like, I should brush up on Yelena. And I started and I was like, never mind. I remember everything.
I remember. Yep. I felt the same way. It's really Florence's performance. It's very memorable.
I am so happy that Florence Pugh has crashed into our world.
Yeah, wow.
Much more excited about her renaissance than I was about Jennifer Lawrence's.
Who the fuck? She's done.
I know she is, but remember that period of time when she was like in every single movie?
Yeah, I'm so over that lady. I'm so over her shit.
Right?
I don't know how. I don't know. It annoyed me when she was like America's sweetheart.
Okay, well now Florence Pugh is.
Yeah, and it's so much more well-deserved. So much more well-deserved. Sorry, Jennifer Lawrence. You're a mom and whatever now, so. It just annoyed me as a person. But Florence is a wonderful person. I don't actually know anything about her. But I just know from looking at her and from how my body feels.
I have watched maybe 2 or 3 interviews with Florence being Florence, and I feel that she is a wonderful person.
I feel that too. Feel it deep within. She's just the way she acts as Yelena. It's funny talking about obvious houses. She makes Yelena's house very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very obvious from from Black Widow and so much in Hawkeye.
Yep.
So much, because there's so much more of her, just her and not like her and Nat or her and someone else. Like it's laser focused on Yelena. So you're like, oh, this is how you react to things on your own? Oh, okay. You're definitely in that house.
Yeah. So. Are you going to say it?
Should I? We could just keep going in silence.
Okay.
Let's see how long we can make that last.
Uh-huh. People are tuning out right now.
They are. She's a Gryffindor.
Big
Big one.
Big one. Big huge one. Giant one. Very obvious one.
Very, very obvious one.
Start with the fact that the day the music died is her. Not even just that it's that song, but that she has a song that you can be like, Yelena, remember who you are. Like,
yeah, really.
I can't. This girl's like, the 3 best so years ridiculous. Of my life, the 3 best years of my life with my family, and you're telling me it's all a lie. It's like, Yelena.
Yeah. And Slytherin Nat is sitting there like, it was bullshit. It was never real. You need to stop. And she's like, don't say that. It was real. It was real to me. I need it to be real.
Yeah. She's like, you're my family. You're my big sister. You're my dad. And I don't like, it gave me a little pang in my, she mentions her dad in Hawkeye. Yeah. When she's telling Kate to eat, she's like, eats. My daddy says it's good for you. I was like, oh, she
loves her family.
Yeah.
She loves them. Yeah. And she'll forgive them anything.
It was all a lie. They were put together by Russian communist spies, and they were a spy family in Ohio, and Yelena was like, these people are mine for the rest of my life.
Yeah. She absolutely could. She could forgive them anything. Where Nat obviously had more trouble. You see the contrast there right there with a Slytherin and a Gryffindor. And it's funny because Nat does love them too.
Mm-hmm.
She just like has less of a problem calling out the hypocrisy and the bullshit of it. Whereas Yelena would rug sweep it.
Yeah.
Like, which is a Gryffindor thing. Like, let's
just want it to be okay.
I just want everything to be happy and have my family together. And, not that she's like some whiny baby, because she's not. But no. she needed... I think she had a little bit of a need for that to help make sense of her world and all the shit that she went through. She goes through a lot of shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, she was like 6 when she went to the Red Room, but
it's so fucked up.
She I mean, I did watch the scene where she gets blasted with the serum or whatever.
Yeah.
And she immediately is very upset that she killed that woman. Digs the tracker out of her leg with her knife and like takes off. And then her response is to like send all of that to Nat. She sends the serum to Nat's safe house.
Yeah.
So and also I was thinking about too. I mean, I don't really know what else I could say about the movie. The fact that she was like, "This is my family," was like the huge thing about that movie. Yeah. Otherwise, just like the way, like again, it's just like her mannerisms that she's joking around She's like, oh, you're such a poser, Nat. Like, why are you? Or like, she's trying to call her out for like, you think you're a hero and you've done all these bad things, and Nat's like, yeah, I don't really think that I'm a hero. I'm just trying not to be bad. Like, I'm trying really hard. Like, Yelena's trying to be like, oh, you're like a role model of these girls, and it's a lie. And Nat's like, yeah, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to. And I think that registers with Yelena, that she's like,
she's projecting
to start being
projecting.
She's like, I should try to start being good. I mean, we know, so from the end of the movie, Nat hands over all of the serums and says, go save the rest of them.
Right.
And Yelena does it. She's like, all right, I'm going to find all the widows and I'm going to save them. And she's telling that woman when she shows up in Hawkeye right before she blips, she's like, it's really, really hard work. It's hard finding them. She's like, and it's even harder seeing them wake up. So Yelena has been there for every single one of them. Like being like, you've been brainwashed for the last however many years, and you've done a lot of horrible things, and this is how you need to integrate back into society. And that takes a lot. Like, you need to feel responsible for that in order to be able to do it. Like, there's no way that you could do it without feeling some sort of responsibility for it.
No, and she obviously does. Like, a task was given to her by her sister. And that's her hero. So she's going to do it. With a lot of Gryffindors, it's like, it's so funny because you're immediately like, oh, daddy issues. For her, it's like big sister issues.
A little bit of daddy issues too, but yeah.
Sure. It's an ongoing thing where it's family issues, right?
Right.
Which is just really prevalent and obvious in Yelena's whole life. And then when she gets to Hawkeye, when she gets to the show, she's running on pure vengeance, and like that's it. She wants vengeance for her sister.
Well, yeah. I thought it was interesting because before she blipped, that other widow who had making a ton of money, contract killing, was trying to convince her to contract kill, and I don't know if Yelena would have done it at that point. You know, like she had her other mission, and she was like, that doesn't sound like a good person thing. But she came back. She had lost 5 years of her life. Natasha's dead. Like what is she going to do? Like the whole world has changed. And so this lady is like, you can still contract kill. And obviously that's how she gets in touch with Val, who then is like, Clint killed your sister. And then Eleanor Bishop hires her to kill Clint. But
and she's like, fucking sweet.
Yeah, she's like, nice, I get paid for it. Like, let's go. Yeah. And that whole 10-minute conversation with Kate is like super telling. Like she starts at like she's like, oh, let's have some macaroni and cheese, Kate Bishop. And Kate's like, do you keep saying my full name because you want me to know that you know who I am? She's like, yeah. Yeah, I know everything about you. I also just like to say it. She's like, but I know everything about you. Like she clearly like she told Kate, she's like, I wasn't trying to kill you. Like I only want to kill Clint. Like I'm not here to fuck with anybody but my job. I have a job. And also I hate him. So but yeah, and then there's that that tug of war where Kate is like, Clint's a good person, and Dylan's like, no, he's not. Like, he's not. You're just saying that. Like, you're right.
By definition, Kate, he's not.
Right. She's like, he's done all these things. I'm telling you all these things he's done. How can you keep saying that he saved? And she's like, well, he saved the world. And Yelena's like, she skips over that because it is kind of true, but she's like, no. My sister is the one who deserves that, and she's right. And she
is right.
Yeah, I know. It's just this interesting tug of war between like two people who love another person or like fighting.
Yeah.
Like, and neither one of them is necessarily really wrong. But Yelena is obviously
She's going through it.
Well, and also Yelena, as opposed to Kate, is standing on morals. She's like, Nat died. She shouldn't have died. Clint should have died. He's not dead. So
yeah, and well, Kate never tells her like no, like Clint did it and he was right, whatever. Like she doesn't say it should have been Natasha ever. She doesn't disagree with her.
No, she says that. She says that stuff. She's like, when you're in this business, there are casualties, and then Yelena's like, are you calling my sister a casualty? And then Kate's like, no, that's not what I was.
Not what I mean.
Right? No, I was, But she was looking at it. They're both coming from the points of view of Kate's coming from Clint's point of view, and she's thinking what he would have been through, and Yelena's obviously thinking about Natasha. So
right, well, it's just a hypocrisy of we love who we love, and we're on the side of the people that we love. And Yelena does it in a way that's like she's not even willing to pretend like it's not funny to her that Kate's defending Clint. She's just like, this is stupid. Like this is a waste of your time.
Well, I mean, Kate is parroting Clint too, but I don't think she was, because Clint has been telling her, if you come into this life, people are going to die. There's going to be casualties. It's going to be a problem. And obviously he's just lost Nat, so he's having a huge issue with that. And Kate, who has not lost anybody yet, is like parroting this to Yelena, like, yeah, sometimes people die. And Yelena's like, you have no emotional connection to fucking any of this. Like, there's no way that you could be thinking about this correctly.
Yeah. I mean, look, she's right to a point, but Kate ends up being right. So whatever. She ends up being right in her own way too. But it's just the way that Yelena handles the conversations where it's always this very like, she's a fucking murderer. She can murder you from across the room by looking at you the wrong way. And she still has this air of like really funny, playful, like she's joking constantly about it. She's like ribbing Kate.
No, but she means it too. She's like, I want you to give me a tour of New York City. Like, I want to see.
Yeah, she means it. But this is such a ridiculous Gryffindor thing where it's just like, oh my God, you're so like, I love her, so it's not infuriating to me, but you can see how would that personality be infuriating to someone. Like you're here and you're gonna take away the thing gonna try to take away the thing that like I this is my hero and I love, and she's just like, give me a tour of
no. I mean it's so, like, continuing. So Kate has this conversation with Yelena, and obviously it affects Yelena in some way because because Kate's like, you don't even know who asked you to do this. Like, what? So Yelena goes and finds out and then tells Kate. She's like, Kate Bishop, I have something to tell you. I was hired by Eleanor Bishop. And anybody else, you'd be like, this is some sort of play. Like, she's trying to get in Kate's head. Yep. She's trying to do a strategic. Yeah. She's not. She's like, oh, this is wrong. Like, this is bad. Like, Kate deserves to know this. Like, you know.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Yeah. She's like, I have no skin in this game, and Kate deserves to know. What a horrible bitch move by her mother.
By her mom?
Really horrible bitch move.
It's not like Eleanor Bishop.
I don't, because I don't like what she said to Clint about Nat. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was very nice.
We didn't talk about that with Clint, but like this whole we just talked about a character where this was happening, and they were a Slytherin, so we were like, they kept getting warned that they were going to hurt a person. Oh no, it was fucking 10. It was Ravenclaw. Where fucking Rose's mom is like, Jackie is like, you're gonna get Rose killed. And he's like, you're right, and I feel bad, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna keep doing it. And like it does.
And you can say Clint like said he wouldn't.
And I mean it does get to Clint. He's like, Kate, go home. But the second she shows up again, he's like, you know.
Yeah, it's not. He doesn't try very hard.
No.
Well, because he wants her around now too. He does love her.
No, and I mean he did try. Like he definitely.
He tried
in her house. She obviously has the reaction that her house would had at being told what he told her, but she was like, you know what? I'm done with it.
Yeah,
and he was like,
I liked
fine,
when,
I tried.
At the end, you'll have to correct me if I'm like misquoting or misremembering it, but at the end when she has Clint on the ice, Yelena, and he tells her like, what you're thinking how it happened is wrong, and he's explaining to her like, this is actually how it happened, and you're still right. Like it should have been me. But this is how it happened. Like Nat sacrificed herself. Yelena's still like, yeah, that might be true. And I'm still gonna fucking kill you.
No, no, okay. Yeah, so I hang on. I'll go through like Yelena just her interaction with Kate in the elevator and the fighting.
I know it's a lot to remember.
Yeah, I know. In the elevator
but I
was
just
very
distinctly remember while watching in that moment, I was like, your reaction here is very
No, I'm gonna get to that. Like the fight in the elevator was very Gryffindor and Kate's house. Then the fight in the office, Kate being like, "Stop getting me to like you." She's like, "I can't help it. This is fun."
That was another one. Yep.
Gryffindor. Yeah, but no, on the ice. So this is actually very Ravenclaw Clint too. Yelena is like, "You killed my sister," and Clint's like, "She sacrificed herself to save the world," and Yelena's like, "You're lying," and Clint's like, "What?" Because he's like, "No, that's what happened." Like I'm telling you the truth.
No, that is what happened.
What else do I say?
Right? Yeah, it was a very very
he's like, I'm not
both
making an excuse.
Were...
I think you deserve to know what happened, and she's like, "No, that didn't happen." And Clint's like, "What?"
And he's like, "Wait a second, I'm telling you an objective fact," and she's like, "I don't care, don't care about your fucking facts."
No. She's like, "You're lying," because she doesn't want to believe that Natasha would have killed herself, right? So she's beating his ass. She's gonna kill him. She's whipped him several times in the face, and he does. Does
she not come to the realization that he's telling the truth?
He does that whistle. And I want to say this is very Gryffindor too, and it's like Gryffindor and a fucking simps. He's like, Natasha talked about you all the time. She immediately drops her weapon. She's like, "What'd she say?"
Yep. She loves me?
Just tell me everything. What'd she tell you about me? What'd she say about me? Like, I want to know. Like, it's understandable because Nat's dead, but even if Nat weren't dead, I think
even if she weren't.
Like, what has Nat said about me? Like, I want you to tell me about me. Like, what how does she love me? Say it. But but I was screaming in my head. I was like, "Oh my God." But no, it's he says that she talked about you all the time. I know how much she loved you. And then he's like, Nat saved the world. That's what she did. And she does at one point, she's like, if I had been there, I could have stopped her. Like, you didn't try hard enough.
That
like,
was
I would have,
She was like, she believes it, but she's like, still.
She's like, you didn't try hard enough. I would have tried harder. I would have stopped her. And Clint eventually is like, Nat. Like, nobody could have stopped her.
Yeah.
And that's what finally gets her. And she's like, it's not fair that you got so much time with her. I didn't get any time. And he was like, I know. And then Yelena's like, I loved her so much. And Clint's like, I did too.
Thank you for the recap.
You're welcome.
Yeah. That is what I was like getting at, though, was that it takes so long to break through to get her to see the truth of like.
No, she had to beat him up for quite a while.
She had to beat it out of him, and then even when
she wasn't beating him out of it, he said it initially.
She found another reason to keep beating on him.
He said it initially. She wasn't beating anything out of him. She was just beating him.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, is that she had to keep punching while listening. Like she couldn't. It just didn't, it made sense to her, and she was starting to see it. She was starting to come to the logical truth of it, but she's still like, but I'm still so fucking pissed. And I could have stopped it. Like, I could have done it. You just didn't do enough.
I would have saved, you didn't deserve to be there. Like, you didn't stop her. I would have stopped her if I was there.
Right.
I think that's part of it too. It's not just that she's mad at Clint. She's mad at herself for not being there.
She is, yeah.
She's like, I would have been. Yeah, she's mad at herself.
Which is fair. You're angry about this whole life.
Well, it's very Dean Winchester. She's like, at the world, it's not fair. It's not fair that I got no time with my sister. It's not fair that I wasn't there when she died and I didn't get to say goodbye. Like, none of it's fair.
Right, and you're
she's
a tangible
just mad
thing
about it. And she
that
needs
was there
to put
at the
it,
moment that I lost her.
And she needs to put it on something.
And you got to be the punching bag. You got to be. When that kind of Gryffindor gets that kind of angry, it needs to come out, like, a lot of times physically, but it needs to come out, and there always has to be a target, because it doesn't.
I think she's to the right side of Dean Winchester. Like
again, when we were talking about, I was talking to George about Game of Thrones. There's a character that needs to understand why certain things happen in the world, and one of the big lessons that George R.R. Martin is writing in, one of the themes that it's alluding to there is that no, sometimes bad shit just happens, and you have to understand that sometimes bad shit just happens, and there's not always a logical reasoning behind it, and sometimes it's not fucking fair. And for right side Gryffindors, which is where I would also place Yelena. That doesn't make sense, and it's not
I told you, I think she's to the right of Dean.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't know.
She's a bit happier
she's definitely
than him.
right side, though, and it's like that feeling of it's just not fair. It's just not right. It should not have happened that way, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I have to get that out somewhere, and therapy. But they won't go there. So someone's got to
go to therapy, and he was still going.
Yeah, how well did he do?
My name is Bucky Barnes. I am no longer the Winter Soldier.
the left side of Gryffindors will go to therapy more than the right side ones. Right-siders aren't willing. So yeah, she's a big old Gryffindor, and really funny and wonderful. We love her.
I love her. I hope we see way, way, way more of her.
I hope there will be more of her.
I hope there's a Kate and Yelena show. I hope it's like the new Black Widow and Hawkeye show.
Yeah, but then they can't, then narratively they won't make them a couple, because it'll just be like
Why?
crime fighting couple, and they never do that.
They should have made Clint and Nat should have been dating. I don't understand.
They should have been.
I don't understand.
They should have been. This fucking Hulk shit. God, so stupid.
And then they were like, he has a family out of nowhere.
I can't.
I could say about Laura Barton. They're apparently making her Mockingbird, but whatever. Right.
Okay. Good for her. All right. So Yelena, Gryffindor. So we've got a Ravenclaw, we've got a Gryffindor, and now we have come to Kate Bishop.
Bishop, my girl.
Lauren did a little dance. She's very
dance.
excited.
I did.
Go ahead, Lauren. Tell us about Kate. Tell us how you feel about Kate. Tell us where Kate is.
She's a Slytherin.
All right.
I don't want any thoughts from anyone else who doesn't think she's a Slytherin. I did have the worry that I was like, Kate's my favorite. Am I being biased? And she's not really a Slytherin. No.
Are you?
No. She's a Slytherin. I did have that initial thought. But then I was like, no, I love lots of characters who aren't Slytherins. They don't have to be in my house.
They're not your number one faves, though. She's your number one fave.
Not in Marvel.
Check your hypocrisy at the door.
In Marvel, yeah.
Yeah, no, she's definitely a Slytherin. So before, when Lauren was describing the very Ravenclaw thing that Clint does, where he's like, gonna get the bow, gonna get this, gonna do that, gonna do that. I saw Kate as that. I saw Kate immediately as systematically moving through goal to goal to goal, accomplishing them. And also that I felt she had this little bit of like not a Luna Lovegood spaciness to her, but she has this like this like optimism that comes from being rich and privileged, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
That you don't see a lot in Slytherins. And so to me, immediately I was like, oh, she's a Ravenclaw because she sees the world through what happened to her when she was younger and needing to be like Clint. And she models her whole everything after it. I got to get the bow and arrow when I'm a kid. I got to do all that. So I just, yeah, I put her there. And Lauren was like, I'm going to fucking kill you. So.
Oh my God, George just brought Rachel coffee.
Thank you. Oh my God, I got a coffee.
What is it? Is coffee?
Yeah.
Is it hot
it's
coffee?
Flat white. Listen. That's the ice.
I hear those aren't good outside of Australia.
What?
Flat whites.
I don't even know what the fuck it is. It just tastes really good.
Australia makes the best flat whites.
Well, I'm not going there because they got fucking snakes the size of like. I'm never going there. I'm so sorry, and I've heard that Australia is the most beautiful country ever.
Just go to a city.
No.
Okay.
Snakes can slither right through a city, Lauren.
Okay.
No, thank you.
They probably don't want to.
Mm-hmm. They come up the plumbing. No, thank you.
I thought you were going to go into what I told you about Kate.
Sorry, what?
I thought you were going to go into like what I told you about Kate.
No, because it's your argument, so that's not fair.
I don't remember.
But
so I was waiting for you to tell me.
No, she just like immediately contradicted everything I said. So I was like, no, she's very loopy and fun, and like when they're having the conversation on the train and Clint can't hear her, and there's just I really thought she was coming off like a Ravenclaw. And
I think I said it was because she's not very systematic. Like Ravenclaws are like step by step by step by step, and since Slytherins have that mentality of like, I'll figure this out eventually. Like it's on my list, but if I don't have the tools right now, we're gonna get back to it. Like it doesn't need to be done before anything else is done, which is kind of where Kate's comes in when she hits something that she's like, oh, I need something else to do this, so she like leaves it and she goes off to find Clint or whatever, or walk the dog, or
it's just so. I don't know. The way she does it is so like I don't know. I was struggling when I was talking to Lauren too to describe it. Like yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just
Rachel kept telling me that she was too happy to be a Slytherin, which I was getting very mad at.
Yeah, but that's how I felt. Like she's so peppy and so like, I don't know. But I guess some Slytherins can be like that, where especially when it centers around themselves, and it does center around Kate's
also
self.
like let's acknowledge straight off the bat that Kate is an extremely privileged person.
I said that.
Yeah, I know, but she grew up rich. She has not faced hardship. Her mother even was like, "You can't handle any problem," So a
lot of it is just immaturity, and you don't see a lot of
it's naivete and immaturity, and like she hasn't had to struggle for things.
I think that was my big hang up.
So
that's it.
So she hasn't had to struggle for things in life. Yes, and so these things that she's facing are the first times that she's really struggling, but she's still not super it's not really something that's affecting her, right? Like even though the bad guys are after her, Clint is immediately in her corner, and she's just sitting there like, oh, Clint Barton, Hawkeye, she's so excited about it. So I do not think until the very last episode it really registers for her that this is a struggle that is affecting me. You know,
it's not until the very last episode that it registered for me that she's definitely a Slytherin. So, we have that in common, Kate.
I mean, I don't know. Rachel tried to bring up the clock tower thing as a reason that she wasn't a Slytherin. I was like, no, that definitely, like her friends dared her to hit the bell. And she was like, and I'm a fucking good archer. And I'm going to hit the bell.
I just thought like she wouldn't be so irresponsible.
No, like there's no consequences for it. Like even she goes home and her mom's like, I'm going to have to pay for that bell tower. And Kate's like, okay. And that's the end of it. Like, you know, like.
If she were a little bit bitchier, she'd probably be a lot like Loki.
Well, she'd have to be very embittered to be Loki.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's what I mean by bitchier. She'd have to be like,
okay. I guess if she had been embittered by her father's death and not inspired by it, I guess. I don't know if that's the exact word that I would use, but I think it's the closest that I can. So her
Well, she's motivated by it.
Yes. So here's the deal with Kate. So when she was 12 is when the Chitauri attacked New York.
Mm-hmm.
And she was there. And her parents had been fighting because they were losing money. And their apartment got blown up. And she wasn't with her parents. And she, alien came, was going to get her. And Hawkeye was close by and shot the alien. And then she watched Hawkeye do that scene that we saw in the movie where he shoots a bunch of aliens and then falls off the side of the building, grapples off the side, and like goes through the window or whatever. So, and then Kate's dad dies during this attack. So they're at the funeral and her mom is like, it's going to be okay. Like, I'm going to be here for you. And Kate's like, I have to protect you.
Yeah, she's like, you're going to be here for me? I'm going to be here for us.
She's like, Dad's gone. I saw this guy jump off a building and he wasn't super powered. I can do that. And so the whole beginning credits is like, she's taking judo classes, she's taking martial arts, she's doing archery classes, she's doing everything. She's like, and this was very Slytherin to me. She's like, she set a goal. She's like, she was like, I'm going to be a superhero. And that's how I'm always going to protect my mom. And she does it. She goes to the training. She does all the training.
But that's also it's also a Ravenclaw thing. To put your mind to something and be immediately good at it. Yeah, no,
but I think I said this to you, and I think this was another conversation that we had with Illy, that Ravenclaws are more a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they can do everything, but there's only so much that they're actually like extremely good at. Slytherins, when they're like, I'm going to be good at this, and then they just work at that.
Slytherins are just more focused.
They're the best at it. She said she literally meets Clint Barton and she's like, I'm the best archer in the world. And he's and I mean, he in typical Ravenclaw fashion just like doesn't really like, he's like, okay. But and then he tells her later, though, he's like, when he doesn't have his hearing aid in, he's like, I think you're right. I think you are the best archer in the world. And she's like over the moon about it. She's like, oh my God, you know? Like,
well, what's great, what I think I like that I like, and it speaks to her being Slytherin, that she had this goal as a child, went for it, really did accomplish it and everything, but she didn't need Clint to actually be there to be constantly motivating her to do it and to accomplish it. She saw one little snippet of this guy doing a fucking awesome thing, and she's like, that's it. That's enough motivation. I don't need like a teacher or a parent or a hero or anyone constantly pushing me to
that's
accomplish
what makes her not a Gryffindor. She didn't need somebody there going,
totally.
She didn't need Clint there going, you're doing so great. You're doing like,
she didn't need it.
Even when she says, some people call me the best archer in the world, and he doesn't respond, that doesn't like get her. She's like, she's like, well, I am. Yeah. So like, she's like, let me grab my bow. I'm coming with you. Like, you know, like,
yeah. No, it's exactly that. And I like that about her. And it was very much a Slytherin thing because I think the other houses not need it more, but you see that Slytherins don't really need it at all.
If I'm remembering our conversation correctly, I think this is what you were having a problem with Kate too, is that like Slytherin should be, she is so confident in herself, but because she grew up so privileged, there's nothing countering that. There's nothing. Yeah. There's no I did horrible things. There's
it's like, where's your struggle?
She doesn't have one yet. She grew up so privileged. She's like, and she's a Slytherin, and she is so confident in her abilities. Hawkeye is like, I have an Avenger mission in New York, and she's like, yeah, of course I'm gonna fight with you, and like I'm gonna do all like
this is where that's why my Loki connection is coming in, because it's the same thing with Loki. He grew up like a spoiled little rich bitch on his planet and with his dad.
But he did have a struggle.
But he does.
Nobody told him he was adopted.
Yes, later on that's a struggle. Well, you know what? Kate's fucking mom is lying to her a ton and everything too, and like but Kate does have a struggle later.
Loki perceived that his made up feud in his own head with his brother was a struggle. Kate didn't even have that.
I know. Loki's ridiculous. Oh my God,
love Loki. I wish we could talk about it again.
I can't. Yeah, so no, Kate does not have that.
I guess that's another thing too that might be confusing. Like, Kate's not super dramatic.
No, she's not.
Yeah,
not at all.
She's not. She does have her moments when she texts Clint and she's like giving him shit. She's like, good thing they call you Hawkeye and not Hawkier. Or she's like, or when she texts him and she's like, hey, aren't you so glad I'm texting you since all your friends are dead or something like that because you have no friends or whatever. And when he yells at her and we have to talk more about that. But when she's like, fuck this, and she calls him and leaves him enough voice messages so that his voice box is full, she's getting a little dramatic. She's like, Clint, I have a lot of shit to tell you. It's just like this montage. Right. And she, like, the last one's like, this is your fault, Clint. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to fill up your voice box, but I had to do it. Like, you know. Like.
Yeah. That was very Slytherin.
Yes.
Yeah, no, she is. I've come to acknowledge it. I mean, look, the big thing that turned me completely into your side is what happens at the end with her mother, but we'll get there.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about those first few episodes, she's literally just like, I'm along for the ride, and she and that's just very. She's Slytherin
forced herself in there. She's
yeah. But that's what makes her so Slytherin too. I know we talk about all the time that Slytherins are leaders, and she does at many times take her own lead. But they're also very good mentees because they want to know, and especially when Clint is so. I don't know, these all exploded out of nowhere. We had none of these types of Slytherins, and now we've got them all over the place. Or I made it up because I said this is what I would be like with 10. But we talked about this last week with Tony. When this is a person and you've decided, like, yes, they're a part of your circle, but it can be somebody that you're not really, like, she obviously has no relationship with Clint before she actually, like, meets him, and then she meets him for a week, and she was primed to take him in, right? Because he's her role model, so she was primed. Like, the second that I get this man in my life, he's like, he's here.
He's not leaving.
Like, yeah, he's in my circle. But no, when Slytherins have that person that they think is so smart and, like, so worldly, and just, like, they are the ultimate person, like, you are hanging on to them and their word. So Clint is like, shoot with that arrow, and she's like, you got it. And she's like immediately doing it. Like, she's like, you got it. Like, she'll get to the point where she questions him. And she has already. But
it's I know it's come up recently because of Peter, but it is a very Slytherin thing to be a good mentee, like you said, because of the need to learn, because of the actual, like, really, really, truly wanting to understand how something works. But not just like, it's not just like learning how something works, it's learning how you can do it. Like, learn it, and then how can I do it? And it's very also Sam Winchester.
Yeah.
Very Sam Winchester.
Yeah.
You don't see him with someone that he wants to emulate or whatever, but you just know with Sam, if he had someone to look at like a hero.
We see it with Veronica. She does it with Keith.
You have it with Veronica too, exactly. Yeah, because they want to not only learn it, but they want to learn from the best so that they can be the best at it.
And then
they already know they can be.
And then they want to be better. And then as soon as they're in that mindset, there will be pushback to like, okay, do this. I don't think that's right. But yeah. So Kate's like still in that learning phase. But yeah, I mentioned when we were not on Kate yet, so we hadn't set her house, the way that Clint gets her to go away is like the exact right, like rock to throw at a dog to make it leave you.
Yep.
Like he knows, like, cause Nat, she's like Nat.
Yeah.
So he knows what to say. He's like, you can't do this. You're not ready for it. Like people are gonna, like, people that close to you are gonna like blah blah blah. And he gets her to go away, and she goes back home and she cries on her mom. Yeah. And her mom's like, does Clint think you're a superhero? And she's like, no. And she's like, and I don't think I am either. She like, that's her down point. And it's really funny that it lasts about 5 minutes before she's like, literally all this.
Over it.
She like looks at that little bow up on her wall and she's like, no, fuck this. I'm amazing.
How dare you make me feel like I'm not for a second even? Yeah, no, she is. She definitely is. The big moment for me is when she finds out what her mother did, that her mother's responsible for murders, and that she's been messing about with Kingpin. She gets her whole ass mother arrested. Her whole ass mom.
Yeah, she did.
Sends her ass to jail.
Her mom was like, is this what heroes do? Arrest their mothers on Christmas Eve? And Kate's just like, I love you, Mom.
Yeah. She was like, you were wrong, and now you must suffer the consequences.
I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I was like thinking through it, that you could make the, like, you're like, oh, Kate could be a Gryffindor because she's like trying to follow morality. Like she
I didn't see it that way though.
No, I don't. Like, I'm going to talk about it. That's why I brought it up, because she tells Clint, when Clint's continuing to be like, I'm not quick sidetrack too. The way that she keeps telling Clint that his branding is the issue. It's also a Slytherin. She's like, this is the obvious problem. Fix it. Like, and it's like, and it's an attention problem. But But no, she tells Clint in that last episode, she's like, you are a role model. She's like, when I was 12, aliens attacked, and I saw a man who couldn't fly, who couldn't shoot lasers out of his hand, jump off a building and kill a bunch of aliens. And she's like, and when you did it, I realized, this is very Slytherin, you did it, so I can do it. Like, I saw a regular man do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And then she says something like, you made me realize that being a hero is, like, all you need to do is basically, like, stand up for what's right or whatever. So I was working through, like, how does this work? Slytherins. So here were my thoughts that I continued thinking about Kate. So it's not Gryffindor because she doesn't have. I think Kate's idea of morality is tied to wanting to be a superhero. So when she's like, what should I do? She's like, what would a superhero do? She's not really thinking what is right necessarily.
Yeah,
she's thinking what is the right move for a hero, which I think are two different things in the way that you come at them, right?
They are.
Yeah. And that's why, because her mom was part of her circle, but she is still like a hero. You're a criminal, so you go to jail. Like that's right. That's how it works. So that's the way I was thinking through it. I also thought it was really funny too, the hypocrisy of her. Obviously, she was a daddy's girl, so her mom's like, "You're just like your dad. He fucked everything up, and like he was working for King Boom before me. I was just doing this because you're dad." And Kate's like, "I'm not mad at dad. I don't care what he did, but you have to go to jail." We were also talking about too, right before the police come, is when Eleanor says, You couldn't handle hardship or something. She's like Eleanor's excuse is like I'm doing all this for you because we needed money and like you couldn't live poor, Kate. You couldn't do it. And Kate's like, how do you know what I could do? She's like, get out of here.
Yeah. I was making a comparison too of Nat going after Clint and seeing what he had done like in Japan and all these other countries and like being such a fucking ass. And how, like, Slytherins aren't going to make an excuse for you. She doesn't make any excuses for Clint. But it doesn't mean that the person that fucked up gets filed into bad person. It just means you need to face what you did. And you need to, like, understand the reality of the situation. Sometimes that comes with a punishment. And if you have a Slytherin friend, they're going to be that person for you that tells you, like, this is actually how it is. You were wrong about something. You need to face up to that. You need to own up to that. There are Slytherins that will take that into their own hands and make sure that you face it. And Kate is clearly one of those kinds of Slytherins because she sends her mom to fucking jail. She's just like, these are the consequences of your actions. I'm simply bringing them to fruition to you. And it was just very, immediately I was like, okay, the only other house that would do that is Hufflepuff. Mm-hmm. And Kate doesn't give a flying fuck about belonging somewhere.
No.
No,
she's like, I belong to myself.
Really justice. It's justice for the person, that specific person that she wants. She wants her mother to be better. Yeah. She wants her to learn from that and grow from that.
No, Kate.
That's very Slytherin.
Kate belongs to herself. She's like, she's like, I want this person to be my friend. They're going to be my friend. Clint Barton's going to love me. I'm going to go to his house for Christmas. That's what's happening. She literally, towards the end of the show, when she's like introducing herself to people, she's like, this is Clint. He's my partner / best friend. She has literally no shame. She's like, that's what I want you to be. None. So that's how I'm going to introduce you. And he's like,
that might have also been my hang up.
Going along with it.
That might have been my hang up too with Ravenclaws, because that's the thing I always said about Ravenclaws is the lack of shame. Kate doesn't have any.
Well, Clint is just like letting her. He's like, what? Like, clearly there are
some fucking
points.
Shame. Yeah, he doesn't either. Two logic houses fucking about.
But at the end, he's like, "You're my partner. Or this is what partners do. Like, I'm not gonna leave you." And she's like, "Oh my god, I did it!" Like,
yeah. She's like, "Finally,
I said it enough that it happened." No, the way that she treats Jack is very like, she obviously is suspicious of him because she doesn't want him to intrude on her family life. So she's trying to find what
George from the very first episode was like, he's obviously the bad guy, and I'm like, he's obviously not. But they want you to think that he is, and that's really, really like, don't get trapped. And he's like, no, look, he's the bad guy. I'm like, he's not the fucking bad guy. So I just feel good about myself.
No, I mean, you should feel good about yourself. I didn't think he was the main bad guy, but I wouldn't have been surprised if he was involved in any way. It's so weird that he, like...
It was so obvious. Lauren, they were making him like the guy from Hot Fuzz.
At the auction.
They were making him like the guy from the grocery store in Hot Fuzz.
These swords around or whatever. But she's obviously like, this is an interloper and I don't want him here. And she was trying to find something. But the second that it was like, it's not Jack, she's like, oh, sorry, my mom put you in jail, Jack. And she's like having a ball with him, like doing swords or whatever. And like...
Yeah. Oh, man. And the other thing that I really went for Ravenclaw Kate was how much she hates lies. Hates it. She does not want to be lied to ever. She doesn't lie.
That's the Slytherin thing, too, though.
I know, but see, it's both logic houses have this.
Yeah, I know, but Ravenclaws are more like, you lied to me and now I'm just never speaking to you. Like, you know? Like...
Yeah. Yeah, no, she saw a new guy coming into her circle that she didn't trust, and she wasn't going to let that happen. And then she found out the rot was within her circle. So she sent her to jail. Like, can you imagine Dean Winchester sending Sam to jail? The most he'll do is lock him in the fucking, like, Bobby's room downstairs.
Panic room.
He's not giving the control to anyone else. Like, Kate fully believes sending her to prison is the absolute right moral thing to do.
I don't want to think about it anymore.
Be like, fuck cops, I'm gonna fucking punish you.
I don't want to think about it anymore.
Yeah, I guess so. She's like, I put her where she's supposed to be, and she's getting the help.
Now I can have fun with Hawkeye.
Now I can go to Hawkeye's house for Christmas. Yeah, she's a fucking Slytherin. She's just a rare one, I think, because of the immaturity and the naivety, which is just, it was so interesting to see.
It's her origin. Like her origin. She's like 22, I think, or 21, you know?
Yeah, she's 22. Yeah, I think so. She's a baby.
Yeah, it's like Peter. Peter's got that. Peter's faced much more struggle. He's been a superhero longer, though, so.
And I was going to say Veronica a little bit, but Veronica faced a lot.
Veronica
she had a little bit of immaturity.
In the flashbacks, when Lily was still alive in the flashbacks.
That's, yeah. Because you see her very young.
Yeah. But then she gets violated.
Cher Horowitz has
her best friend is murdered.
Cher has a little bit of immaturity, but not
Cher
naivety.
has a lot of it.
She's not very naive, but she's very immature. Like, she doesn't fall for anyone.
You didn't think Cher's naive?
No, I think Cher sees the world very clearly, and I think she's right about most of it. I
don't know. She did not know. She's naive when it comes to guys. She tries to pretend she's not, but she is.
Oh, well, sure. Yeah, sure. But that's like a product of her, like, how she wants to live her life. She's another one where she's like, well, clearly, obviously, I know everything going on at all times about everything. And she's like the type of person to be like, I read about it in a magazine, so now I'm the expert on it.
Right.
Like,
that doesn't mean you're not naive.
Thing. Yeah, but it is a Slytherin thing. I don't think none of the Slytherins I know, or any of the ones that I can think of, necessarily need to have experienced something in life to, like, feel like the authority to give advice on it, and then that advice somehow ends up being correct. So I think it's fair to be a little confused and get mixed up between Ravenclaws and Slytherins sometimes, because they both have this tendency of, like, just somehow things fucking work out, even when it doesn't make sense. Like, it shouldn't. Shit. It shouldn't. And that might be because I don't understand logic. But yeah, it's the first time I really, really got hung up on those two, mixing them up. And it was just interesting because I've never had that happen before. Usually Hufflepuffs are my hard ones. So I was going through the show and I was like, Lauren, I just can't, like, I couldn't. And I was like, no, Clint's a Slytherin and Kate's a Ravenclaw. And she's like, no. And I'm like, are they both fucking Hufflepuffs? Because I usually can't figure out a Hufflepuff until it's pointed out to me. And then I'm like, oh, you're right. But yeah, Slytherin. No Hufflepuffs on this show.
No.
Maybe her mom. Nah. I don't think there's any. Well, I don't know about Maya yet. I haven't.
Yeah, we need to.
We're not talking about her yet. We gotta. She's got to get her show first. Oh my God, she's so fucking cool.
Yes,
she was so cool. I wanted her to win.
Well, she did.
She shot. I know, but when she was fighting with Clint and Kate, I was like, yeah, I hope you win a little bit. I liked her a lot. Because Clint and Kate were such a shit show in the beginning. Two logic houses really, like, with their own truths, their own moral code, with their own, like, needs and wants, trying to end up, like, one of them trying to latch onto the other one being like, get off. Like, I need to fucking works out for both in the end beautifully. Clint got to adopt another person into his family, which he loves to do. And Kate got to be the greatest archer in the world who has Christmas at our hero's house. Mm-hmm. So.
And she's getting a superhero name. And
it's a good house duo. I don't think we see it a lot.
Nope.
We really don't.
No.
We really don't.
No. Give us some more Dennis and Charlie.
They'll fucking kill each other. Charlie will eat him alive, and Dennis will tell him that he's doing it wrong the entire time. What a fun little combination and show. It made for excellent TV. So you know what? Give us more Ravenclaw Slytherins. I can't think of another. Oh, I always say that, and then I come back to Britta and Jeff, and I'm like, that's why I like this. Another show where they fucked up the couple for no goddamn good reason. I'm not here to talk about Community today. I'm not going to rant about it today.
Wow.
I'm really happy, though, that we didn't have another Slytherin Gryffindor and like as the main duo.
Okay. I was like Yelena Kate.
That's so, yeah, but see how they make a good pairing because they obviously do. The two houses make a good pairing. But I like that they weren't the focal point of the show. Because I'm so sick of talking about that combination. Like, at this point, the next time we come across them, I'm just going to be like, yeah, because of all the things I've said already in every episode we've done. So it was nice to have something new. Some new chat about. Yeah. And that's that on that. That's
it.
How I feel about that.
That's all of it.
Do we have any business before we need to go?
I don't think so. We did all the business in the beginning, didn't we?
Yeah, sometimes you remember things at the end, though, and you're like, oh, yeah, before we go, I want to tell you to do this.
I mean, next time is, we're doing 911 Lone Star.
Shit, you scheduled it. I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, that's right, with Illy and Haley again.
What does the sign behind you say? Sleigh rides? Reindeer sleigh rides?
Yeah. What?
I thought it said straight rides, and I was like, in your room?
Not for the gays. Yeah. Yep.
You sure?
Mm-hmm. You want to think about that?
Right. Let me go before I out more of Lauren's life story.
Oh no!
I know.
Did y'all know I'm bisexual? I feel like I've only said it 10 times.
Have you? Have you ever said it on the show? You have.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about lots of bis.
Pretty sure we talked about wanting to have sex with several women.
Yeah. People could just say we're being slutty, though. You know. Well, which I fully support, and everyone should. All right. Thank you for listening. And go listen to the Spider-Man one. It's really good. What the fuck? Go listen to it.
Yeah.
You know what? One person told another person that we said Peter's a Slytherin, and they're all like, fuck that. I'm not listening to that now.
Did you answer Ezza on Instagram?
I don't think so.
She asked whether we thought all 3 Peters were the same house. She had some thoughts.
Oh, well, I can't tell her that because it's spoilers.
You could answer. She had thoughts about nature versus
nurture. Bitch, if you saw it, why didn't you answer?
Because you answered the Instagram.
Get out of here. You see something, say something. That's the motto.
Okay, WMTA.
What the fuck is that?
The fucking Metro. That's their logo. If you see something, say something. So if somebody left a fucking duffel bag and it might have a bomb in it, if you see something, say something.
Is that MTA? I just thought that was like a WMTA. General rule of thumb.
I mean, that's literally the slogan.
Well, whatever. We don't listen to that in Queens because snitches get stitches. So
okay.
I don't say shit about shit. I didn't see it, actually.
Let the train blow up.
I missed the part where that's my problem. Toby Maguire. Bully Maguire. I fucking love him. Okay. All right. We'll see you soon for the next one. Whatever it is Lauren has me scheduled for. I'll show.
Jesus. Okay.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Sort of Brilliant. If our sorting choices inspired any rage or excitement, we'd love to hear from you. We're open to feedback, suggestions for characters to sort, and solid counter-arguments with citations.
Never forget your citations. You can find us hanging out on Twitter and Instagram at SOB_pod or shoot us an email at sortofbrilliant@gmail.com.
And since we're not above begging, please rate and subscribe to Sort of Brilliant on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please share our posts on social media. And if you're a Gryffindor, maybe you'll inspire sorting fights among your own friend group.
The theme music is Hot Shot by Scott Holmes. Can't wait to sort with you again next time. Bye!